Good afternoon, lovelies. I hope everyone is well. So today I thought I would do something a little bit different. I was pondering as to what to make a video about. Again, something calm and gentle. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to start digging into one of my favourite topics or one of my favourite hobbies, and that is collecting Fude. Now, what is Fude, you ask? Now, Fude is, okay, and I'm no expert here, but Fude is the Japanese word for makeup brushes. And I'm sure most people know that Japan has a very long-standing tradition in craftsmanship and also making brushes, particularly calligraphy brushes, but also household brushes and makeup brushes, among other things. The Japanese are world-renowned for this, and many brands, in fact, outsource their brush making to Japan, to Kumano, which is an area near Hiroshima, which is known for all of their workshops that, at least I think there are several workshops, happy to be corrected, that make these brushes. So, for instance, Westman Atelier, they, as far as I believe, outsource their brush making to Kumano, as does Wayne Goss, who is well known for making his Fude. And Sonia G, of course, is probably the most famous European brand when it comes to Fude. Now, Fude, typically speaking, is made with natural bristles, so from animals. So goat hair is probably the most popular and probably the cheaper option. You also have brushes made from squirrel hair of all the different types, of horsehair, of weasel, of Kolinsky. I'm trying to think of some others, of silver fox, which Chikuhodo actually does, and they are beautiful, as well as many, many others. And as I said, no expert, but this is just a basic list of the kind of bristle types that they use. So a couple of years ago, as I was in a job I really hated and spent my time basically Googling anything that interested me, and I needed to buy some new makeup brushes. And I came across some Reddit posts that talked about Fude, and I ignored them to begin with because I thought, oh, I'm not planning on buying these kind of collector's items because presumably you don't really use them. But after a while, the word Fude kept coming up over and over again, and I looked into it. And actually, there is a really quite substantial market and many different sites that sell Fude. And as I said, you're probably using Fude without even realizing it because many brands actually outsource their brush making to Kumano. So anyway, I bought some to start with, and I love them. I fell in love with them. And when you buy these brushes, you really get a sense of the craftsmanship. You really understand that actually these brushes are made to do the job and to do the job well. And the idea being that these natural bristles actually are far more effective at applying makeup than synthetic hairs. Although, of course, no shame to people using synthetic. I mean, it's far more animal friendly and it's a lot cheaper. And Kumano workshops also use synthetic bristles when it comes to making their brushes, or they'll do a synthetic and natural blend. Again, Westman Atelier, they have synthetic brushes and they get those made in Kumano, as I said, as I believe. I don't buy those brands particularly because I think it's obscene how much Westman Atelier is charging for synthetic haired brushes. But that is my opinion, and feel free to comment if you believe that it's worth it. So yes, I thought today I would touch upon my obsession with Fude, which is slowly going out of hand. I wouldn't say it's the most wallet-friendly hobby to have, but they are beautiful, and they're meant to last a very, very long time as long as you take care of them. If you want to know more about Fude, there are many YouTube channels that talk about it in depth and they really go into the brands, and I would love to share more about my Fude interest on this channel, but let's see if people are interested in getting involved in the conversation. But if you want to look at some other YouTube channels, I would recommend 3 in particular. One is Michelle Wong's channel. She's fantastic. Sophia Sees Beauty. She really goes into depth and makes excellent comparisons. And Alicia Archer, I never know how to pronounce her first name. She also really goes into depth and also has collaborations with Fude Beauty, which is a platform where you can buy Fude from Japan, among a few others. So let's get into this. So I thought I would do a bit of an unboxing. I would have shown a shot earlier from Rephr. Now Rephr is interesting because Rephr is actually a Canadian-based company, but they get all of their brushes made in Kumano in Japan, and they predominantly use goat hair, undyed goat hair, because undyed goat hair can be used with pretty much every and any product. It can be used with liquids and with powders, but also because it's undyed goat hair, it can also be used with cream and liquid products, and it has excellent pickup power, but maybe isn't the softest bristle, albeit it is very soft, but not as soft as, let's say, Squirrel or Silver Fox. They are a Canadian company, and their goal, as far as I can tell, is to make food actually affordable to the public, and it's also community based in the sense that they actually really want feedback from the community, and that's how they decide what kinds of brushes they make and which ones they end up distributing. So I have yet to really get into Rephr because I find that the aesthetic isn't as beautiful as some of the other brands like Chikuhodo, Bishiro, Koyudo, Hakuhodo, all of these kinds of brands. But they are far more affordable, as I said, and they recently had a sale, and I thought I would buy products from their Shodō line. So what is Shodō? Now, I'm not entirely sure myself, but I believe they have decided to make these brushes that are based on calligraphy techniques so that it has quite a wispy finish, and I will get these out in a minute. And this way you can diffuse and blend products so much more easier, and you probably don't get as heavy a look. So I decided to try it because I do not have brushes like this, and they looked really beautiful, and other YouTubers did a really good job of selling me on it. Okay, so I'm gonna do some unboxing here. Firstly, you get this really beautiful kind of, it looks almost like handmade paper. I'm sure it's not, but it's rather beautiful. I may use that for wrapping something in the future. And then in here, have a look, we have the Rephr brushes. And as I said, in terms of where they sit on the market, they're probably the most affordable when it comes to natural bristled Fude. They're kind of like the gateway brush company if you really want to start thinking about whether you want to add Fude to your collection. And as I said, they typically just use undyed goat hair, and goat hair is really great for all products, and if it's undyed, then it can also be used for creams and liquids. And I probably should say that generally speaking, Fude is much better applying makeup, and typically all of the bristles can be used with powders. If they are dyed, again, only use with powders, because if there are dyed bristles, they're not so good with creams and liquids. And certain bristles you can use not only for powder products, but also liquids and creams. And this would be kind of the more resilient brushes, and that would be goat hair, that would be weasel, that would be Kolinsky, and pony, and I don't know if there's maybe a distinction between those two, and a few others. But these are the hairs you would use with pretty much everything, and they've got really great pickup. So anyway, let's get back to it. So this is the Shodō 05. You can see the Kumano kind of emblem here, which will be on any Fude made in that region, and it's really beautifully wrapped. As I said, I haven't bought from them before, and if I look inside, it's in a plastic packaging. It's in plastic packaging, and then here you go. Here you've got it. This is the brush. So it's quite small. It's like a paw print almost. And on the side, actually if I do it on this side, you can see it's got a very slight bend on one side. So it's kind of tapered. It's kind of tapered to the side. And as you can probably see, I'll take some better shots later. It's got this lovely wispy quality where all of the bristles are of different lengths. And I believe that that's actually the hardest type of brush to make. So I did love them anyway. And it's quite, you can see it like on my face. If I show you it's like the springiness. Some real springiness there. So what I thought I would do is start with the Shodō. Let me just tell you how they describe it on their website. So it is, I've got my little laptop here, a no makeup brush for skin-like finish. The Shodō 05 is crafted using a first-of-its-kind technique inspired from traditional Japanese calligraphy. Artisans carefully alternate 10,000 plus long and short fibers to create micro layers along the tip of the brush that gives your makeup a soft, diffuse and buildable finish. Pending community feedback on these brushes, we plan on transitioning more of our existing brushes into the Shodō platform in the future. So FYI guys, maybe give them some feedback if you're interested and we might see more of these. So doesn't that sound lovely? So I thought today, again, my first time using it, I thought that I would use it with basically everything just to see how it performs. So I've got my foundation, I've got my powder, I've got my concealer. I also have bronzers, blushes, highlights, eyeshadows, all in cream and liquids and powders. And we're going to see how it performs. I also have the Shodō eye brushes that I wanted to use too, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let's jump in. So I thought I'd get nice and close. Hey guys. And get into it. So if I move my hair out the way, because I have a lot of it. I'm like one of the hairiest people on the planet, I swear. So hang on, let me try and get all that in. Oh, shakespeare. Right, and so let's start with my foundation. I won't go into too much detail on what I'm using because I guess the issue is the formula, not so much the product. Okay, so taking my brush, which I should say, most Fude brands say you should wash them first because it gets more airy and usually is easier to use. So I haven't done that, so bear that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to go straight in. Got my foundation here. It's just the Chanel one. You know what, I'm going to use a mirror because the viewfinder is rubbish. Okay, so typically you're advised with liquids, as I said, use goat hair or synthetic. Synthetic is brilliant for any kind of liquid or cream because it doesn't absorb. So you've got to kind of bear that in mind when you're using a natural hairbrush. It does absorb a little bit of the product, which actually means that the coverage is more even because it picks up the excess, but you do lose a bit of product on the way. As you can see, I've had to pump again because I'm losing some of it. And I would say, I mean, it's nice. It's nice. It is very airy, but I probably wouldn't actually use it for foundation. I think it would take too long and it doesn't have quite enough like structure, and it's almost like not dense enough. So if I really wanted like a decent full coverage, and I've actually got quite light foundation, if I really wanted full coverage and an even distribution, I think I'd go with something a bit more dense. And happy to discuss what those brushes would be if you're interested. How am I looking, guys? All right, let's move on because this might be a long video. Okay, so I'm just wiping it off on a microfiber towel, which is a really good way to take care of your brushes in between washes because washing it too often does ruin them. Okay, I'm going to go in with my concealer, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury as per usual. Airbrush Flawless Blur Concealer. I don't really need that much at the moment, but I'm going to just put some on anyway and just see how this performs. I don't think this would be particularly good for concealer, but in the spirit of this video. I mean, the nice thing is because it's so wispy, because it's so wispy, it kind of fits underneath here, underneath my eye, without really like, because it doesn't feel dense, it doesn't feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure on there, and it's actually really nicely distributing it. Okay, I'm going to eat my words. This actually performs, I prefer it as a concealer brush actually to a foundation brush, because it really gets, like, as you can see, it like really gets in here gently. Putting it on my nose, a bit of redness. So I think the more concealer you have, it may actually do a better job, because it really picks up any excess and really distributes it very quickly. Targeted areas, I don't think it will be that useful. Okay. Guys, I'm kind of loving this brush already. I'm excited. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one half my face with liquid and cream and the other half with powders. I will look ridiculous by the end. But again, this is just trial and error at the moment. So to start with, let's do liquids. I'm going to start with got my Chanel Le Beige Sheer Healthy Glow Highlighting Fluid. I'm using it because it's very liquidy, and I wanted to see like how it distributed it as opposed to like a thicker consistency. So I'm just like dotting it in there, and then I'm gonna sort of just put it where the light would naturally, let's put some in the middle, light would naturally reflect. Definitely use far too much. I would say I don't love it for highlighter, because I think it's better. I think it's too targeted. I think I'm struggling to not end up covering my entire face in like this like shiny liquid. But you know, it's all right. It's all right. Anyway, I'm gonna get the excess off my hand, because I'm not gonna be able to use all of it. I was a little bit ambitious with how much I would need. Okay, and now I'm gonna go in with bronzer. So I've got my Western Atelier bronzing drops, which are, I have to say, phenomenal. Like one of the best things I've ever bought, ever. Get my brush in. You can see it, you can really see it's only picked it up at the ends, which is kind of amazing. So I bought this hoping that it would be good for bronzers and blushes, because I've just started getting into, and contour. I've just started getting into like liquid and cream bronzers and blushes, which I've never really done before, because I always found powder a lot more straightforward. And this is beautiful. You can really see it's like nicely distributing it. It already doesn't look too much. I'm gonna put some down here, and it just feels really feather light, really feather light. And it's just nicely sweeping it around, and it doesn't feel like it's actually hard work. Much better than putting highlighter on, I think. I don't know if you can see, looking a bit orange in the viewfinder, because the light in here is not great. There is no great light in this apartment, so sorry about that. But this is working really well. Beautiful. You know what, it just feels like I'm not even putting anything on my face, because it's so wispy. It's like a whisper. It's a whisper of a brush. So also, I'm happy, as this is a first Fude video, I don't always remember what are the questions people want answering, so please feel free to comment, and I will get back to you with my observations if you have any questions. So I've done this side. I'm now going to go over with the powder on the other side. So I'm going to start with the highlighter, and I'm going to use Prada highlighter. I'm just going to see what that looks like. Okay. a good pickup. I actually feel like with the powder, it's a bit more controlled. I don't think I would use this for powder, I have to say. I don't, it's actually, or I think this could be used for everything. I think if you could only bring a few brushes with you, you're going away. I actually think this could be used for pretty much everything when it comes to complexion, but it's not, I think it's just not, doesn't feel targeted enough. And maybe it's a little bit, it diffuses the powder a bit too much. I don't know. That actually looks quite beautiful, doesn't it? It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, so I've gone in with the, sorry, I've got hair in my eye. I've gone in with the highlighter. Now I'm going to go in, it's the real test, with the bronzer. And I've got the Chantecaille bronzer in Sirena. I'm holding it like that because this bit's actually falling out. I have no idea why. Okay, so I'm just going to take this. And you know what? I think this is great for bronzer. I'm like putting this on now and I'm thinking, what am I talking about? It's really great for powders. It's because it only lays down a little bit at a time. You basically never can overcommit with this. So like if you've got, if you've got any very pigmented like products, blushes, bronzers, contours, this is your guy. Because I always overdo it with bronzer because I'm really not very good at applying it, but it's a bit more colour on this side, but you can really see it's distributed it beautifully. I'm so happy. I look sad, but I'm really happy. Okay, right. I normally go in with blush last, but today I'm not doing makeup by myself. You're here with me. So I'm going to go in with the blush now so we can move then on to the eye brushes. Okay, let's go with the liquid. I'm going to go with, again, Westman Atelier little blush stick in Petal. Recently tried this, I know, late to the game, and it's brilliant. It's matte and it's glowy, but it looks so natural. So it's not, you're never going to get an over-the-top blush with this particular shade. I don't know about the others, but it's going to make it look like you're naturally flushed in a really lovely kind of spring-like way. And I don't usually like cream or liquid blushes because they really sink into my pores and I have very big pores, but this one is brilliant. So, got it on. You can also, I'm sure, go in with the brush, but I'm lazy. I'm just gonna twirl it a bit as well. Just twirling it and like gently blending it in. I think with the amount of bronzer I put on, maybe it doesn't look that great, but it's blended it really lovely, really lovelily. I don't even know if that's a word. Okay, so onto the other side with my powder blush. Again, it's my usual blush Subtil in Rose Sable, I believe. Yep, from Lancome. I'm just going to go in with the powder. Oh, I like that. God, I'm so happy I got this. This is just like blending out. It's immediately as it goes on, it's blended. I bought this worried that the hype was just the hype because people are secretly getting free things and they're being told to sell it, but I'm wrong. Doesn't that look beautiful? Really, really gentle. Gorgeous. Nice. Okay, so final thoughts for this so far. Oh, I've got face powder. I'll do that in a minute. So this is a loose powder. It is the Laura Mercier blurring powder. I think maybe the loose powder, I mean, you can see it's maybe the worst thing for this because it's now getting absolutely everywhere, but whatever. I'm just going to flick it around my face. Just going to do the T-zone. And okay, that's all right. I think my final thoughts for this brush on first use is that I wouldn't use it for foundation, both in powder and liquid form, unless you've got a small face. But I think what I immediately recognised as fantastic about this brush is that it is brilliant, I think, for anything to do with contouring, blush and bronzer. I think something that's got heavy pigment and you really want to have a diffused look that you can build up and not worry about having a massive blotch. This is great, both in powder and in cream and liquid form. I would use it for both. I'm really happy. So that's the 05. Let's go now to the Shodō eye brushes. Right. So this is what it looks like when you receive it. Beautiful. It has this kind of like, I don't know if you can see, this beautiful little, I don't even know what you want to call that. Like, and again, another like emblem. Nice little ribbon there. So I'm gonna open it, and it does say it's made in Japan. Made in Japan. There we go. So, oh, like a present. Let's just take this off, and then, okay. Oh, it's kind of like again, you've got the kimono little sticker there. Oh, okay, right. You can tell this is my first time of ordering anything from Rephr. Sorry. And then you have these 3 Shodō brushes. So we've got the Shodō 01, 02 and 03. I'm sure there is a story as to why there isn't an 01, but I am not a long-standing customer, so I don't know. So if we look, so the Shodō 00 is this flatter brush, right? And I think it's a little bit like the Rephr 01 brush, which is a similar shape, but again, it doesn't have this kind of wispy quality. It's a bit more fluffier and denser. So you can really see this kind of, bloody hell. You can see this kind of wispy, this like wispiness. It's got this nice quality. And then the Shodō 02 is this one, which is a lot thinner. I'm guessing it's similar to one of the Rephr brushes. Is it 14 or 50? I don't remember. That's for hooded eyes. And this one's very thin and pointy, and I'm guessing it also would be good to smoke out any kind of eyeliner. This one also feels actually quite firm, despite the fact that it's quite thin. And then finally, we have the Shodō 03, which I think is similar to their 16 brush. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong, because it's a lot thicker. It's a lot thicker. And actually has some quite good stability there, but still has the wispiness. So those are the 3 brushes. Oh, once again. And to read out the description, it's designed on click-free brushes, and you can use the side of the brush for diffuse application and blending, use the tip for precision, and it works well with creams and powders, as I mentioned. It does say it's from natural goat hair with staggered bristled lengths, dense at the base and wispy at the tapered tips. The calligraphy-inspired construction allows community members to pack colour using the side and blend or detail using the tip. The set includes 3 graduated sizes, suits to lid, crease and lower lash line work. Handles are lightweight with a slim profile. I mean, the handles are very basic. I think they've changed them a bit more recently from like a shiny black to a matte black. They don't do much for me, as I said. I'm not excited when I see them, but they make them more affordable. And to be fair, if they perform beautifully, then I shouldn't really be complaining. So I am going to go in with the cream and liquids. So I'm going to start with the Chantecaille Mermaid Eye Colour in Starfish. And this is, it is a cream, but it kind of comes out quite powdery. I'm going to start with the Shodō 00, which is this flat one. Okay, so that's the pickup. It's actually pretty intense, I have to say. I wasn't expecting that, so I'm going to go with the corners. Well, it's not really, it's kind of most of the eye, isn't it now? Okay, so I would say, I don't know if I would blend with this. I don't think it's got enough robustness. I mean, the pickup's really good. And I can get kind of a very wispy, diffused finish already. I don't know if you can see. But I think it would take me a long time to really pigment this or to like layer it up. It's very, I mean, it's very subtle. I'm telling you it's very subtle because this is actually very intense when you put it on with other brushes. It's okay. I think I would like more robustness with this kind of a product. Let's try blending out with the Shodō 03. Okay, I kind of prefer that. It's got a bit more body to it. And it's diffusing, okay, it's diffusing the eye look really, really nicely. Might try and add a bit more. Yeah, I think this is if you want a light touch with something very pigmented. I'd say that these do a beautiful job of that. I wouldn't use it if you want a striking look, I think. Like, I don't think this really brings out like the multi-dimension quality of this eye cream because it's so light. Okay. And what I will do is I'll go into the Victoria Beckham Lid Luster in Chiffon, which looks like this, just to see if it will pick up something this, because this is actually very, can flake quite a lot. And it's very shimmery. Okay, yeah, this is not picking up. This is not picking up this, at all. It's not picking it up. Okay, I think with any kind of intense shimmers and glitters, particularly like the more creamier, I think you need, I mean, it's doing it, if I really press it in, I don't really want to because it might ruin it. If I really press it in, I can add a bit, but I think it's too delicate. It's too diffused. Okay. Okay, doesn't work for that. Let's try this Shodō 02, this one, to go in perhaps with this again, and then just line the bottom of my eye. Because it's so pointy, it's almost too long. I almost need to be more stubby so I can control it a bit better. But I do get a diffused look, and maybe let's try it in the corners, try to line the eyes. Okay, it's okay. I think it's too long. I think it's too long to do any looks around the lash lines, but maybe if I put it in the corners to build it up. I think this would be good for hooded eyes. I don't really have hooded eyes, so I don't think it's lending that much to me. And I wonder if you like to do any eye lines, eye looks here, then it might be quite nice. Or if you wanted to like diffuse, if I get my highlighter, and maybe like diffuse the colour up here. Oh, see, that's lovely, yeah, okay. If I want to create a bit of a line there. And maybe I've seen on one of my, on Sophia Sees Beauty, she drags up the line here with some finishing powder to try and make it a bit more defined. Okay, I think that works better. Let's move on to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to now go in with the powders, which I do think will work a lot better with these brushes. They are lovely brushes. I think I do like them. I'm glad I've got them, but I think it's about finding the right product. I'm going to go with my Dior Show 5 Colours in 974 Pink Riviera, which was unfortunately a holiday collection, but I thought I'd go for some bold colours. So let's see. So let's start with, I want to go do I want to go light? Yeah, okay, let's go light. Okay, so I'm going to go with the 00 in this lightest shade here. This one here. I think this might be a bit too light. Yeah, it's too light. I think it would take some time to really build it up. It's okay. It's okay. I think these are good for, I think diffusing pigmented eyeshadows is, I think, what this is for, particularly powders, I imagine. I'm now going to go into maybe this slightly darker shade here. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, well, as you can see already, it's picked up quite a lot. I'll go into the corner. Using the tips to just diffuse it out a bit. And you know what? I'm going to go in with the bigger one, the 03, and see if I can do a bit more damage with that. And I'm going to use the tip to lend a bit more depth in the crease. Okay, that works so much better. Oh, wow. Just do like a bit of a halo effect. Beautiful. Maybe I'll use the thinner one to really get in there. There we go. So I don't mess up the front of the eye. Sorry, the inner eye. Okay. Just doing some diffusing. Now let's go in with a dark colour. I have a feeling this big one is going to work the best for my eyes. So I'm going to go into with this colour here. Go in there. And at the bottom. Oh. Look at that. I'm gonna really get it in there. Lovely. I think that's a bit too thick to do underneath, but I'm gonna rub it off on my microfiber towel and I'm gonna diffuse the edges so it looks less intense. And then I'm going to go in with the thin one, the 02, and I'm going to go in with this really pink shade in the centre and like try and line my eyes, even though, as we've discussed, I don't know if this will be good as a It's almost, as I said, too long. It's like an eyeliner, but I think I've done all right. Don't know if you can see. I'm gonna like smoke it out a bit. So yes, I would say these three, they are fantastic. I think they're fantastic for diffusing on first impressions. I'm not sure I would use them for anything cream, liquid, very glittery, anything that really packs a punch, unless you really want a diffused look. Then I'd go for this. If you have, for instance, you know, maybe you do have a Victoria Beckham lid luster and they are intense, and you think, you know what, the only way I want to use this is if it's more delicate, a bit more gentle, then these would be the brushes for you, I would say. Anything like that where you think, I really want to wear this maybe at work. I don't want to look like I'm going out for a night. Then these would be great. I think if you want to go out, if you want to go for your night out, unless you're planning on laying a nice diffused base for some other things, I wouldn't recommend these. I think these are the gentle brushes. I'm going to finish things off by, got my Shodō little rosewood handle and 24 karat gold ferrule eyebrow brush, which I love because I have like mammoth eyebrows. I line my lips. I mean, this looks ridiculous, but I just want to show you the final look. And get some lip gloss on. That goes with my eye looks. We've got a purpley and we've got like a pink here. Lovely. I'm not going to go mad with my mascara because I am not going to be wearing this for the rest of the day, obviously, but if I just put a little bit on. Okay. Oh, and I'm even wearing a matching top to go with it. Okay, so let me just... Okay, so that's the final look. I would say everything is nicely blended, nicely diffused. I do have big pores, so you have to ignore that. But I think that's done a really good job. So, my final thoughts. Bearing in mind that I've been having to digest all of this on camera, so they are first impressions, but I would say the hype is real. I think these are fantastic. I think if you are to get any of the brushes, it's this one, which is cheaper anyway than obviously the set of three here. I think this is multi-purpose. I think you can use this with pretty much anything. I think if you're going for full-on coverage, I think this will take a long time, but would give you a very natural and diffused look. I think this is really good with pigmented complexion work, as I said before. And I think if you're scared of contouring, for instance, like I am and have always been, I have very big cheeks and there is nothing to contour because there is no cheekbone in there, you would think. Then I think that this would be a good kind of like amateur or rookie brush to start using for any contouring, and again with bronzer. I think also it's exactly the kind of brush you want if you are dealing with a product that you are scared of, or a formula you are scared of and you are not sure, because this will allow you to build it up. So that's my thoughts. These are beautiful. Great if you want a diffused look, if you want an everyday look, if you are, you know, if you've got to look demure in the office, this is fantastic because you can actually use it with pretty much any product. Not sure about the lid luster, as I said, but you can pretty much use any product and make it look good for day, not just night. But having said that, this is not your full-on glam, I want to stand out in a nightclub kind of look. I don't think this is going to also hold up very well to a fake eyelash situation if you want the whole smoky look. I think less is more with this. So those are my final thoughts. Do comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. I would love feedback on this one because some of these are relatively new products. I could be wrong. I also am totally happy to be educated if I am wrong about anything here. Otherwise, I'll put any links that I think are relevant in the description, including what makeup I've used. And with that, I will love you and leave you. And I hope you are all doing well, lovelies, and have a lovely, lovely week planned. Or if not, are planning something so that you can get through it. Anyway, as always, do check my blog out, which has nothing to do with makeup, but it's all about chill vibes, being gentle, being human, and most importantly, food.